Dear Evan Hansen, turns out your film wasn't so amazing after all. I'll be honest, I haven't actually seen your Broadway show, much to the disappointment of my TV and theater friends, so maybe everything I'm about to say was carried over from there. That still doesn't make it okay. I will give credit where credit is due, and admit there were some things about you that I kinda liked. Your soundtrack, removed from context, was pretty friggin' great. A lot of your songs were catchy and well written, and the performances, most of which were done live, were really well done. On that note, your cast, sorry, not that one, were all pretty stellar. Ben Platt and Julianne Moore were big emotional highlights, and Nick Donani had me chuckling a lot. The characters' ages didn't bother me either. They've been casting older actors as high schoolers since the 70s, so the fact that everyone looked older than they actually were just sort of turned into a fun quirk about the movie. Unfortunately, that's where my compliments stop. As great as your performances are, your characters, with the exception of Connor's sister, are all irredeemable assholes. Starting off with Evan himself, he is a psychopath. While I understand and sympathize with the fact that he suffers from depression and social anxiety, and while I realize he does try to be honest and just gets caught up in trying to help this grieving family, there is a point where he gets so blindsided by his own self-importance and need for attention that it seems like he forgets what he's even keeping this lie up for. He does eventually come to his senses, but only after Connor's family gets harassed online. And he justifies lying to them by saying he just wanted a family that cares for him, and also he attempted to kill himself. Again, I understand his actions, but that is not a reasonable excuse for any of this. And that new ending of him reaching out to people over Facebook and looking for info to learn more about Connor doesn't redeem him in the slightest. It, at best, shows him trying to offer the Murphys some form of catharsis and apology for what he did, and at worst, shows him trying to do a good thing in order to make himself feel better. In fact, that seems to be a running theme with this movie. It plays into the sensationalism that issues like mental illness and suicidal depression have on social media, where people get behind a cause to make themselves and their image look good without any desire to bring about actual change. Even one of the characters, Alana, flat out admits that she leads these big activism groups and gets behind all these causes to make herself feel better and look better among her classmates. When Evan shows the letter that Connor supposedly wrote, he tells her specifically not to post it. But when the fundraiser she starts is in danger of tanking, she posts it anyway, and Connor's family gets put on blast. And she never faces consequences for this. She has a song talking about looking out for the anonymous ones, when this wasn't even about them or Connor or anybody except her. The best friend Jared, while entertaining, is complicit in keeping up Evan's lie. Even Evan's mom, who, among just being the stereotypical absentee parent who throws her son to the wolves and expects things to solve themselves, has a weird scene where she snaps at the Murphys for offering to pay Evan's college fund. And at the center of all this is Connor, who is done so dirty. His name floats through this movie as a driving force behind the key characters' choices, but we never get to see the person behind it. I compare this to Netflix's 13 Reasons Why, which was just as guilty in how it romanticized issues like suicide and mental illness. But as bad as that show was, it at least had the decency to give the dead character a voice and a personality and motivations, so that when the bad thing did happen, we felt a little bit more sympathetic. Whereas with Connor, we know nothing about who he is or what led him to do what he did. We get a few slight hints, such as some punched holes in his bedroom wall and a few stories from his family, but we don't ever see Connor's perspective on any of this. All he is a plot device, a tool who becomes more and more forgotten as the film goes on. And I think the most telling thing about you is something that my friend said on the way back from the theater. What am I supposed to take away from this? What do you want your audience to carry with them as they're leaving? What message do you want them to get behind? Because I honestly don't think you have one, apart from maybe don't lie. It's clear you want to start a conversation about mental health awareness and suicide prevention, but the way it's executed in this story is quite frankly irresponsible. You show so many broken kids crying out for help in this movie, but no one seems to give a shit until it's too late. not helped by the fact that there are no adults present to check in on these kids and make sure their health and safety is in check. And the ones that are around just seem to brush their problems under the rug. It's so frustrating because I see a good movie inside of you. It's just undercut by so many dangerous elements that makes it impossible to support you. But then again, you do have a dedicated fan base that love you and your music, so maybe they'll find something in your film that I just didn't. As for me personally, the strong elements were still really strong, they were just weighed down by several questionable aspects. In terms of a rating, I'm sitting at a frustrated 2 out of 5. Expect another letter in December. Sincerely, your most disappointed critic, me.